I'm Boomy and I'm just going to talk about my placement that I am going to complete in the following weeks, completing 30 hours in the sports development sector, which is what is required from Module TL2131. I'm going to talk about the organisation that I'm going to be working for. I'm going to talk about some of the local and national links with the organisation and how they link that through what they do, and the expectations from me on the placement. So yeah, I'm going to discuss that in a little bit more detail as we go along. So my placement basically is I'm working for the Bolton Council in their sports and active living sector of Bolton Council. Okay, so what is this? So what is this? This involves me going. So this involves this school colleagues from the Bolton Council to go into schools, but this isn't necessary for schools. It could be for all ages, so like incorporating sports activities and sports days, just to increase the number of sports or the amount of sport individuals are doing. But I want to specialise in teaching in schools, so I picked up the sports development sector, or going into schools and delivering sport. This linked into the sports development sector because due to delivering, as the school sports will have like primary funding, and with that funding they can either upskill themselves or call individuals such as Bolton Council, sport and active living coaches, instructors, mentors, whatever you want to call them, into schools, and they pay for these people to deliver their PE lessons. Okay, so yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing, or I'm going to be assisting one of the colleagues, or one of the Bolton Council employees doing. So yeah, so it's basically providing provision for schools and delivering lessons for teachers to maybe upskill themselves or even complete a CPD, and then they can use these lessons and print them out in future lessons for them. Enough about that. So yeah, so I mentioned the primary school funding. They'll have the national funding, which is so as I've already mentioned, that they bring these people in and they pay like a subscription for them or a fee for them to come. Okay, a bit about my placement, how I'm going to get there. I'm based in Bolton, so I'll just be travelling there by foot or maybe driving, as I'll be doing 2 schools in one day. So I'll be doing a few hours in the morning and a few hours in the afternoon. So maybe in between I could be driving. So background about the school. So I'm doing 2 schools completely contradict each other. One school being really rough. So by rough I mean they have a lot of different ethnic minorities or minority groups. So this could be quite challenging, as they may not all speak English correctly. The behaviour might be a bit wary and not very disciplined, as they can't speak English. They're not having 100% understanding of what is going on. However, the other school are very disciplined. It's on the other side of town. How do I put this? When I say disciplined, I mean they all speak very good English, all very behaved. The school is disciplined. They're quite organised. Because they have a clear understanding of what's going on, they do not misbehave. Yeah. So I'm going to talk about the organisation, the local and national strategies, and the expectations from me. So when I say the organisations, I've already touched on it, but they're based. What are the aims? What are the aims of the Bolton Council? What do they aim to do when they're going into school delivering lessons? So PE lessons in this case. When I say local strategies, I'm touching on school and club links. and how this process happens for me. National strategies, I'm talking about the funding right again, so I've touched on primary school funding. How do national governing bodies help with this? I've touched on Olympics and Paralympics and how this has a bit of an effect on and increasing the number of people participating in sport. Expectations just are factors or necessities for me to have or for me to keep when I'm doing this placement or completing this placement, which we should touch on. Okay, so the organisation. Sorry. Yeah. So back to the organisation. So I keep mentioning the sport and active living. So the aim of this job title is to increase the number of people participating in sport, and not so much getting involved, because you want them to get involved, but you want them to continue the participation and continue playing the sport they enjoy doing. It's increasing a healthy environment, so therefore through the increased participation and the healthy environment, it's having a healthy lifestyle, and this having a healthy lifestyle could make them or allow them to have an enjoyable work environment too. Okay. I say this, so increasing participation, but then I'm sure through calling myself or overpaid employees from Bolton Council into schools, I'm sure children would like to see progression as well as not just participation every week. Maybe they want to see the progression in themselves. So these lesson plans have been delivered by these employees from Bolton Council. They are very much linked in with the physical education scheme or curriculum in my eyes. They matched the national curriculum of 2014, which is very important. Then, my mentor Lee Bennett has mentioned how they try to link it in with what they are already teaching. They don't just go into schools, jump in and deliver boxing when they've been doing dance. And they try to link in dance, and if the theme is Africa, they'll link this in quite nicely in. So this goes back to being organised from their perspective, being planned. Being organised, planning should be adequate. That's a must, like for anything that you do. Also, these lessons that have been delivered, as mentioned, can be used and printed and copied by the teachers. So it's actually upskilling them, allowing them to increase their knowledge, maybe on sport if it's not quite as high as it should be for the school staff to deliver PE, as I'm trying to say. So yeah, they have Twitter pages. On the Twitter page, they're always tweeting about their recent events. So they keep constantly updating it, constantly staying on top of it, allowing others to know what the organisation is doing and completing and delivering, and what is out there for people to get involved in. For all children, there's club links out there in schools. If you ask one of these Bolton Council employees that are coming in delivering lessons, they'll have a list of club links which we'll mention for the children to take home, or I'm sure to their parents, and say, look, I love boxing, I have just done it in school, the Bolton Council employees came and delivered it, or whatever they want to call it. Basically, we're increasing the amount of participation by these school children through the use of these paid sport and active living employees that are coming in delivering the lessons. Okay, but on the curriculum, doesn't necessarily mention what sports they deliver. So they just want to increase your agility, your coordination, your fundamental movement skills. But this can be done through the use of majority of all sports. I mentioned boxing. You wouldn't really think of doing boxing in a PE lesson, but this increases your agility. This increases your coordination, your speed, such things. So moving on to staying with the organisation, their aims. So we've touched on participation, so increasing participation for reasons such as a healthy environment, a healthy lifestyle. Developing a club and group network. So basically, making provision accessible, allowing people to know what's out there and what's available for them. So this can be done through Twitter, but obviously the children will not, especially primary school children, will not have access to Twitter. So this is where parents have a responsibility to maybe become aware of such situations. Maybe teachers could send maybe a little letter or announcement or something of that sort to make aware to the parents that there's club links out there, that this is what's happening during PE lessons, so they're aware of what's happening. So everyone's aware of what's happening in an English lesson, a maths lesson, a science lesson, an art lesson, but do we know what's happening in a PE lesson, or that there is paid employees coming in delivering lessons, upskilling the teachers? So yeah. One of the other aims is to promote and develop sustainability. So maybe when upskilling the employees, making sure it's fun and not just saying, oh, you're being upskilled. What I'm trying to say is you need to make sure it's an enthusiastic workforce. The staff at the schools are enjoying what they're doing. Also to manage and develop the facilities. So maybe through the use of the funding, they could increase the equipment they have or develop what they have. Like, so if they might only have so much equipment, so therefore that limitates what can be taught in the PE lessons, or can be done or completed, or it just limitates what can be completed in a PE lesson to make it fun, or to try different things or new things, which are all are very important for children, as you really want to motivate them to continue. And whether if you're doing the same things all the time, it may weigh up and demotivate them. Not in all cases, but you could use the same equipment and do many different things. But then this comes to the teacher: are they upskilled enough? Are they aware enough of the knowledge? Is the knowledge quite high to allow them to, or do they know what they can do with such equipment and the different things that are available for them to do? This was all information, the aims especially from the Bolton County website, Sports in Bolton 2016. The organisation is quite a lot about community and sports development, which I've touched on. So basically the local links, the local club links, which I'm going to touch on in a bit, but I'll mention it in a minute. So, the local strategies. We spoke about schools. We've already touched on some of this. The schools, the inter-school. So, one could be inter-school festivals or competitions. Or the Bolton Council deliver different lessons, such as Wheels for All, or wrestling, or rugby union. Wheels for All is massively different and innovative, and it's an initiative, as it's basically giving an example of how disability sport is played. So basically, sport on a wheelchair. Stuff like gymnastics is quite common, but like as I said, you can try different sports like wrestling, rugby union, Wheels for All, as this all increases agility, balance, coordination. Also, the CPD courses, upskilling teachers, this scheme of work can be printed up and used. So it's about the quality of the session and how creative and innovative the teachers can make the sessions, and so they're not always the same. So yeah. So the funding. So we go to mention the primary funding. This can be things like calling such employees in from the Bolton Council and paying them. It could be used for equipment and increasing the equipment that the school have. If the teachers and the staff are upskilled enough to use the equipment effectively enough. So the national government initiative is to basically improve physical education in schools. The Bolton Council give out club marks, which is basically an accreditation, and therefore they have a look whether they've got a first aid, it's safeguarding, whether the environment is safe, the club's safe, whether there's adequate qualifications, there's criminal record checks like the CRBs, whether they're approachable, and they through all this information, a club mark is given. It's basically an accreditation given to a club based on their community. It's an accreditation scheme for the community, and given to clubs to basically say it's the same environment. So if Bolton Council if I'm going into a school with a list of club links, I know they've been sent to a safe club. Through the list of club links. It's not difficult to give. Most schools get it, and the schools are also given a certificate to basically say and identify that they have enforced and enforced the club links process and procedure. Recognise sports in Bolton. I like your Bolton your Bolton Lads and Girls Club, your Bolton Community Trust, and such agencies where people from schools and primary schools or secondary schools can be sent to but do various activities, not just focused on one activity. Moving on to national links. I touched on the primary school sport quite a lot. Basically, it's what the Sports England and the government have come up with. They fund a sum of £9,250, which I have got off the Sports England website. And this adequates 2 lessons per week, or this is what it should adequate. National government recognise sports and so they recognise sport and identify these sports in the communities, giving them funding to deliver such sessions, or use the funding for equipment or facilities as such. Going on to my expectations from me, quickly touching on this. I'll be working in 2 schools that contradict each other, which as I previously mentioned. They're 2 diverse schools, so it's very important for my behaviour management to make sure I can basically manage the behaviour or any irrelevant behaviour. So if something that's unacceptable, I need to be able to manage it, go about it, deal with it. What it's expected from me is to get involved and not just to sit aside and observe. It's not an observation. I'm there to do some work, it's what's said from my mentor. So yeah, I might be given a group of children to go away and get the work done, or deliver whatever we're working on in that particular session. I am being given I've been allowed to go to the office and have a look at the paperwork they do and complete, identify the office work, the types of things they're doing, the planning, the organisation, the local links and how to go about it. So when I say club links, it's sending children from school to club links. Well, what is that process? Are they the contact details that I've given? Is it an email or a contact number? when they're given a club mark, what's the process? Yeah, it's whether they have a CRB, a first aid, a safeguarding, it's a safe environment, whether the coaches or the staff, the mentor, have adequate qualifications. How how do they produce a list of club links is something I could have a look at. So in the national links, like how do they apply for the funding, and when they get the funding, who does the funding go to? How do they decide what the funding is being used on? This is for schools, so it could go straight to the head teacher's hand, and the head teacher obviously has to decide. But does anyone have any input into where it's being diverted into, as in the funding? These are all things that are being expected from me, from the organisation or my tutor, to basically develop my understanding on the local and the national links and the strategies that are put into place and the processes that take place, basically, for these things to happen, and basically to acknowledge them and identify what's happening out there and how it's happening. But yeah, that's everything. So, thank you.